May 1943, North Atlantic convoy route. A British frigate detected a U-boat at 800 yards. The depth charge team rushed to the rails. By the time they rolled charges over the stern, the U-boat had dived to 300 feet and turned hard to port. The charges exploded where the submarine had been 2 minutes earlier. The U-boat escaped. This happened dozens of times every month. Depth charges required the attacking ship to pass directly over the submerged submarine. The U-boat had time to dive deeper and turn away. The explosive pattern spread too wide to guarantee a kill. Success rate was 1 in 40 attacks. The Royal Navy was losing the Battle of the Atlantic because German submarines could evade the only weapon Britain had. Then British naval engineers designed something unconventional. Instead of rolling charges off the stern, they would throw them forward. Not one charge, but 3 at once. Not in a wide pattern, but in a tight triangle. The weapon looked absurd, a 3-barreled mortar mounted on a frigate deck. Naval experts questioned whether forward-throwing charges could work at all. The recoil might crack a destroyer hull. The charges might detonate too close to the launching ship. The Royal Navy tested it anyway. By 1944, Squid was operational. By war's end, it had killed 17 confirmed U-boats. Its success rate was 1 kill for every 3 attacks, 40 times better than conventional depth charges. German U-boat commanders called it the weapon they feared most. This is how British naval engineering turned U-boat hunting from random chance into mathematical certainty. The Battle of the Atlantic reached crisis point in 1942. U-boats sank 631,000 tons of Allied shipping in November alone. Convoy escorts dropped thousands of depth charges monthly. Most missed. The problem was geometry and time. Conventional depth charges rolled off the stern or fired from side throwers. The attacking ship had to pass directly over the submarine's last known position. Sonar contact was lost in the final 300 yards as the submarine passed under the hull. The U-boat had 2 to 3 minutes of blind time to turn and dive. Depth charges sank at 8 feet per second. A U-boat at 200 feet depth could be 300 yards away horizontally by the time charges reached attack depth. The explosive pattern covered perhaps 100 yards diameter. The mathematics favored the submarine. Success rates proved it. Between 1939 and 1943, Royal Navy escorts dropped 23,000 depth charge attacks. They achieved 569 U-boat kills. That was 1 kill per 40 attacks, a 2.5% success rate. U-boats were being built faster than they were being sunk. The Royal Navy needed a weapon that could kill submarines before they escaped the attack zone. British naval engineers at the Admiralty Research Laboratory approached the problem differently. Instead of attacking where the submarine had been, attack where it would be. Throw depth charges ahead of the ship while sonar contact remained solid. Create a killing pattern so tight that evasion became impossible. The concept was simple, but the engineering was brutal. A mortar system powerful enough to throw a 200-pound depth charge 300 yards forward would generate massive recoil. The charges had to detonate at precise depths simultaneously to create an inescapable pressure wave. The system had to reload quickly enough for multiple attacks. It had to work on small escort vessels, not just destroyers. Development began in 1941. The weapon received the name Squid, 3 10-inch diameter mortar barrels mounted on a trainable platform. Each barrel fired 1 depth charge. The charges weighed 206 pounds each, with 120 pounds of Naval explosive. Maximum range was 400 yards ahead of the ship. Minimum range was 200 yards. The system used automatic depth setting linked directly to the ship's sonar. When sonar calculated submarine depth, Squid charges set themselves automatically. All 3 charges fired simultaneously, not in sequence. They landed in a triangular pattern with 80 feet between charges. All 3 detonated at the same depth, triggered by hydrostatic pistols accurate to 5 feet. The combined explosion created an air bubble 25 feet in diameter. Pressure wave killed at 50 feet range. Damaged submarine systems at 100 feet range. Recoil was the engineering challenge. 3 charges firing simultaneously generated massive rearward force. The mounting had to absorb recoil without cracking the ship's deck or disabling the weapon. British engineers designed a hydraulic recoil system with nitrogen springs. The entire mounting could train 180 degrees to engage targets on either beam. Elevation was fixed at 45 degrees for optimal range and accuracy. Loading was manual but fast. Each charge weighed over 200 pounds. A trained crew could reload all 3 barrels in 30 seconds. Most frigates carried 24 Squid charges in ready storage. That allowed 8 full salvos per engagement before rearming from ship's magazine. The first Squid installation went aboard HMS Loch Killen in 1944. Then Loch Fada, Loch Inch, and Loch Moore received the system. Castle-class frigates and modified River-class frigates followed. By war's end, 70 ships carried Squid. Another 30 were under conversion when the war ended. If you're finding this technical analysis interesting, subscribing takes a second and supports the channel. The first combat test came July 31, 1944. HMS Loch Killen was escorting Convoy off the English coast. Sonar detected U-boat at 1,000 yards, bearing 090 degrees. The submarine was at periscope depth, preparing to attack the convoy. Loch Killen turned to intercept at 20 knots. Sonar held contact through the entire approach. At 400 yards range, the sonar operator calculated submarine depth at 120 feet. Squid's automatic system set all 3 charges to 120 feet detonation depth. At 275 yards range, Squid fired. All 3 charges landed in perfect triangle pattern ahead of the contact. They sank at 9 feet per second. 14 seconds after firing, all 3 detonated simultaneously at 120 feet depth. The U-boat was U-737. The explosion ruptured both ballast tanks, shattered the pressure hull at 3 points, killed the control room crew instantly. The submarine surfaced 40 seconds later, stern first. The crew abandoned ship. Loch Killen recovered 28 survivors. U-737 sank bow first in 90 fathoms. First kill for Squid on first combat deployment. The pattern continued. August 6, 1944, HMS Loch Moore attacked U-boat off Scotland. 2 Squid salvos. U-678 destroyed. September 5th, Loch Killen again, attacking U-boat south of Ireland. 1 salvo. U-482 shattered. October 24th, HMS Portchester Castle engaged U-boat in western approaches. 3 salvos. U-1006 destroyed. Between July 1944 and May 1945, British frigates fired Squid 53 times in combat. They achieved 17 confirmed U-boat kills. Another 12 submarines suffered damage severe enough to abort patrol. That was 1 kill per 3.1 attacks, 32% kill rate. Compared to depth charge kill rate of 2.5%, Squid was 13 times more effective. The improvement came from 3 factors. First, forward throwing eliminated the blind zone. Ships maintained sonar contact through the entire attack. Second, automatic depth setting removed human calculation error. Charges detonated at exact submarine depth every time. Third, tight triangular pattern created inescapable kill zone. A U-boat could not turn out of an 80-foot triangle in the 2 seconds between pattern landing and detonation. Compare Squid to American Hedgehog, the other forward-throwing weapon in Allied service. Hedgehog fired 24 small projectiles in circular pattern, 150 feet diameter. Each projectile weighed 65 pounds with 35 pounds of explosive. Projectiles only detonated on contact with submarine hull. No contact meant no explosion and no kill. Hedgehog's success rate was 25%, better than depth charges but worse than Squid. Squid's larger charges detonated whether they hit the submarine or not. The pressure wave killed regardless. German U-boat commanders recognized Squid immediately. Interrogations of captured crews revealed consistent testimony. They called it the fast attack weapon, standard. Depth charge attacks gave 90 seconds warning between loss of contact and explosion. That was enough time to execute emergency evasion, dive to 400 feet, turn 90 degrees, and hope. Squid attacks gave 20 seconds warning. Not enough time for deep diving, not enough time for hard turns, just enough time to realize death was coming. Kriegsmarine Technical Intelligence assessed captured Squid charges in 1944. Their report to U-boat command stated British had solved the forward-throwing problem, recommended U-boats avoid convoy close approach when Squid-equipped escorts detected. That advice was worthless. Convoy close approach was the U-boat's mission. Avoiding convoys meant mission failure. German submarine commanders had no counter to Squid except staying submerged deeper and running silent earlier. That reduced attack effectiveness and increased patrol time underwater. Burning diesel and battery charge faster. Squid cost 1,200 pounds per installation, plus 800 pounds per ship for magazine modifications. Total cost under 2,000 pounds per vessel. Each depth charge cost 20 pounds to manufacture. A complete attack, 3 charges, cost 60 pounds. Compare that to losing a frigate at 200,000 pounds construction cost, plus crew losses, or losing a merchant ship at 300,000 pounds plus cargo value. Between installation in July 1944 and war end in May 1945, Squid-equipped frigates sank 17 U-boats for total elimination cost of 1,020 pounds in ammunition. Those 17 U-boats would have sunk estimated 120 merchant ships based on average U-boat patrol success rates. Cargo value saved exceeded 10 million pounds. The mathematics proved British anti-submarine doctrine. Improved sensors combined with precision weapons defeated submarines regardless of numbers. Royal Navy continued Squid installation post-war. By 1950, all British frigates and many destroyers carried the system. Modified versions served through 1977. Royal Canadian Navy adopted Squid for their escort fleet. Royal Australian Navy fitted Squid to their destroyers. South African Navy requested installation on their frigates. NATO standardized on Squid derivatives for Cold War anti-submarine warfare. The weapon that seemed absurd in 1941 became the standard by 1950. British naval engineering proved forward-throwing mortars worked better than conventional depth charges. Tight patterns killed more reliably than wide patterns. Automatic depth setting beat human calculation. Contact maintained throughout attack eliminated escape opportunities. Squid turned U-boat hunting from desperate chance into calculated execution. 1 in 3 attacks killed the submarine. German commanders feared it. Allied navies copied it. 17 U-boats confirmed killed. Dozens more damaged and driven from patrol areas. The Battle of the Atlantic's final year saw U-boat effectiveness collapse. Squid was one reason why. British naval innovation under pressure, solving problems conventional doctrine said were impossible. The Royal Navy proved what naval architects worldwide had doubted. Forward-throwing weapons could work. Tight patterns killed submarines. British engineering delivered the solution when the war demanded it. That was naval excellence proven under fire.